This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so perfect. So yesterday, again, as I mentioned, right, we have seen that, okay, first of all, how to create a pipeline, right? And what is the use of pipeline when we talk about CI/CD or a deployment and all those things. So what generally we have really get into a scenario is that, okay, we have an application and that application code, right, is available in a Git repository. And from that Git repository, we are trying to see how we can really deploy that application to your you have this Git repository. That's what I think we have done. And once a Git repository have any change, right, how can we really make sure that change is getting into the app, right? We are discussing this multiple times now. I'm just going to explain you one more time. So in between we have an option like where we are going to build the image. Okay, build image. Then we are going to push that image, say like to the ACR, right? And we have, there is an option like we have the ACR here as a part of this, right? And we are integrating everything now because this is what the from here to here is the mechanism. And with that one, how can we really do it? That's the whole point of understanding about this CI/CD pipeline, right? 1 minute. Right, okay. So we have a build first, then we are going to have a deployment push for then, okay, and then this push is something which we are trying to integrate with the ACR. Then once the push is done, we definitely go ahead and deploy. So deploy it to your web application, web apps, right? Whatever the web apps we have created, actually we can go ahead and deploy our application into that web app. This is what we have seen so far, and this is a continuous process. So whenever a change happen inside, so as a user, right, in case if as a developer, if a developer is pushing anything, that code will automatically go and start kind of like getting executed as a pipeline thing here, and everything is now automated. This is what we have seen, right? Any questions in this one so far? Okay, we have seen that, okay, we are doing this using a YAML format. Okay, there are a lot of stages which we can really see. We have seen a stage, we have seen jobs, and we have also seen the different types of tasks, right? And we are going to see more and more tasks as we really move on. Now what is happening here when we are really doing this one? There is one still dependency we have. Now what is the dependency? That dependency is nothing but having this ACR as a part of my manual deployment. Correct? ACR and web application. So what I'm doing here, that this part, whatever I'm just mentioning, is still uh, it's still kind of like, okay, I need to really do it manually before even creating my pipeline. So I have an option here, right? We have seen that option that, okay, if I want, I can really deploy it using a portal, Azure portal, right? That's a main thing we have seen. And we have also seen how we can really do it using Azure CLI, right? We have seen that, okay, how can we really do it this Azure CLI and can deploy my ACR and application, but using either a virtual machine or using either a directly Azure CLI portal. I can see that I can do that. But however, in case if I want to integrate that as a part of my pipeline, then how things really work out? Then it will be a complete CI/CD thing, right? So generally it will be like, okay, instead of this one, I'm going to add one more step here before my build option to validate whether my infrastructure is also ready or not. So now I'm talking about doing a code or adding a one more task before my build process to ensure my infra is ready. Okay. Generally, we call this as a infrastructure as a code, IAC. Why I'm talking about infrastructure as a code? Because now I'm writing a code in my Git repository and saving that in the Git repository. So I can, whenever I run this code initially at the first point, it will ensure that both of my applications are ready or both of my services are ready even before my build and push really happens. And if this service is fail, then the next steps will not get triggered or executed. Okay, so just ensuring that okay, I am having all this information, infrastructure something. Now there are two things here, right? One is either you can have steps in your CI/CD pipeline itself to ensure that we have all these dependencies and everything, or you can create altogether a different pipeline just for a infrastructure, because you may not be having just one ACR and like a web apps and everything. You might be having hundreds of resources. You might be creating hundreds of resources. So what you really do, you delete these kind of things from here, okay, and you just create one infrastructure as a pipeline, and then you assign all this configuration whatever you have to this build an image or your git repository. So this information, once you create, you will pass on that information or save that information in back to git repository, and then you can really do it the other way also. So separate infrastructure and then separate build and push pipeline. Both the way will really work out. Most of the companies, what they do, they really go with this kind of approach. So they create a completely different approach to use the infrastructure. They kind of like save the infrastructure as a code in a different git repository, and the actual application deployment will happen in a separate repository, because this is the access they are going to give it to the developer. And for this git repository, the access is with DevOps person, because DevOps person is the guy who is really doing all this infrastructure thing. And this is the one which we are trying to understand, because now this git is owned by us as a GitOps engineer, a DevOps engineer, right? Whatever changes I want, I can go to this git repository, I can do those changes. That's why our understanding for git is also important now, because we are also going to, because we are doing a lot of coding now. We have seen, right? We have created one YAML file, we have created Docker file, we are going to create some more YAMLs and everything. And as we move on, we'll definitely see more and more program, more and more templates in on YAML stuff. So where we were going to save that one, we are going to save that in our own git repository. And then we are also going to create some pipeline which can deploy that code into the infrastructure, so it can manage my infrastructure as a code now. So whatever changes I want here, it will be automatically get executed. Say like tomorrow I can just add one line here. I've created one code here, okay, and in this code I'm saying, hey, create, say like ACR, and maybe create web app one. Now tomorrow I come back here and I can say, hey, create web app 2. Perfect. Now here inside I can say, okay, create slot here, or dev slot here, dev slot here, right? What is slot? We can really create an environment, separate environment. I can say, okay, create a QA slot here. This is how I can change my, code. And the moment I change my code, it definitely go ahead and create those many resources here automatically, because this is an automated process. And the good part is whatever I have written here, it will go ahead and create that. Perfect. So that is the main thing which we are really going to create, and we are going to see how we can really do this. But as a part of employment, I can also show you this one, because this is a very simple thing which we have to really integrate in our application. And what? Let's see that. Okay. So far with me, guys. Any questions on this one? You hear me okay? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. So here, where it
Okay.
comes, code scanning before infrastructure, or
Code scanning. Okay. Code scanning will be part of not infrastructure. It will be
no, no,
part of
before.
your build and pipeline.
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. That's what before infrastructure as a code, or after that, where it comes exactly as code
Here,
scanning.
here, here. Again, when I talk about infrastructure as a code, right? So generally what will happen is, as your normal pipeline will run like this, the one which we have already seen. Okay. I'm showing you this as a separate process, that okay, you can have a IAC here, infrastructure as a code here, but generally infrastructure as a code will always be separate. We can create that, but just as a part of execution, I'm just showing to you. In case if you want to have a scanning here, right? This is where the scanning will really come into the picture, your code scanning.
So code scanning, image scanning also comes in the picture, right?
Yes, yes,
Pipeline.
everything will be here. Everything will be here. But that is again, in this thing, we will not be really seeing that on a very heavy level. I'll just show you bits and pieces, but not the detailed here. Okay.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah. So because that's again, too many things. It's not just one thing, right? Static. When I talk about static, the code scanning, there are hundreds of things actually you can configure in a code scanning. Okay, but yeah, from a understanding perspective, you should know that okay, there is something like a code scanning which is really happening. There is something like a vulnerability scanning which is happening. There is a image scanning which is really happening. So these are some of the things which you should really know. So in case if someone asks you in your interview, you can say yes, image scanning, and I that's something told you, right? Here you will be having a code scanning, then there will be a vulnerability scanning, right? SAST, and then there will be image scanning, then after deployment you have a DAST, like that way. So there are multiple things again, and every company will have a different things. I'm not giving you the everything here what is going to really convert. There might some application which can really do some more event based things and all, but that will only applicable when you are really start working on actual environment. Maybe in your environment you can suggest that what they are really trying to do, or trying to understand in your organization what they are really trying to do. Okay, what is their pipeline, how their pipeline really look like, what kind of a tools they are using. So that will I will also get some understanding. Oh, okay, that is why, and I can then explain you, okay, this is why they are actually using, this is the tool, and for this particular purpose they are using that particular tool. So at least you will have understanding, right, that what is happening there. Perfect. So when we have these things, okay, now as a part, as I mentioned right away, we are going to include the IAC here as a part of our infrastructure. Okay, and then we will be having a separate IAC, because IAC, when I talk about that one, Azure CLI, I don't consider that as a IAC, but yes, it's a part of a IAC. But Azure CLI is actually not a true IAC. True infrastructure as a code is not like Azure CLI is not a true infrastructure as a code. We will be using something like a Terraform here. But before getting into a Terraform, I want to explain you how this Azure CLI works. Perfect. Let's go back. So now we have this stuff here. So I have also created one folder here which is already there inside my git repository. So if I go to GitHub, and here, okay, and I'm going to go with the Azure CLI here, Azure CLI. I think I should have this in Azure CLI. Yeah. For example, this is my Azure CLI which I am already using, right? I've configured this one, so we can use it as whatever we have. But there is one more thing which I have already created. Is 1 minute to go back to my IAC as a web app. Azure pipeline. So I have already created this Azure pipeline, and I'm going to show you how we can really use this one. I'm going to copy this also here, so you can use it in my repository. So Azure CLI, if I go back here, I'll just create one more file here, and I'll say Azure pipeline. Mm, Azure pipeline easy CLI, and I'll just paste it here so you can use this particular thing. And I'm going to commit change. Okay, so let's try to understand what is happening here in this particular code. What is happening? Okay, so we are starting, and I'm going to just use this reference, and we are going to add that in our pipeline. So what we have is a pipeline. I'll just go back here. I'll show you the yesterday's pipeline, right? The one which we have. So Docker, and this is the pipeline, right? We have seen this is the pipeline we have created yesterday, if you remember, right? We have created not this one. Where is that? Mm, okay, this is the one, right? created. Yeah, I think this is the one which we have created. Application and Python application. Okay, no problem. We'll try to incorporate here, or I'll show you the separate one, and then maybe we can see how we can really do it. So, so like if I go back here, not this one. Azure DevOps. 1 minute. Mhm. Mm. 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 Then I've created that. Okay, no worries. We'll create it again one more time. Not a problem. Not a big deal. So I'm going to use the same thing, right? We have created yesterday that okay, how we are really going to do, how we are going to execute this one, and we are going to kind of like change this particular thing. Perfect. So in this particular scenario, yesterday I think I've changed this one. I didn't save it. That's why, and I've showed you right how you can really save this inside your libraries and how can we really execute. So we have seen that yesterday. I'm going to change this one, or I'm going to use the exact same thing, but you know how to do it. Okay. So here we will go back and we will going to see that how things are really working on here. Now, in case if I go back here, all the information, right? Yesterday I've showed you that we can really create the credentials and everything, and we can create a variable group. And I have created that variable group as a part of my application, whatever I'm kind of like, going and deploying that one. So I have this .NET 8 app, which is as a application thing, which I have really created as a variable group, and I'm referring that variable group in my in my pipeline. Along with that, I have this tag and the value and the name of the image and the value of the image. So this is a pretty standard. We have seen that yesterday how we can really do it. Okay. Now as a next step, right? As a next step, I'm starting with provisioning the resource. So I'm starting one stage. That stage name is a provisioning underscore resources, provision or provisioning, whatever you can call it as, provision resources, whatever the resources I'm going to provision. This is pretty standard, right? We are just putting up a job name here, we are putting up the build, and we are just mentioning the image name whatever we have. The actual action starts from here. So if you see, I am having now a task. So yesterday we have seen Docker task, we have seen Azure web application task, now we are seeing the Azure CLI task. Now as you can see, when I'm connecting with Azure CLI, and if I am already authenticated, I can definitely run my Azure CLI directly from my pipeline, as simple as that. Okay. And when I'm executing that one, I can really go ahead and create some I can provide the display name here, and this is the format I can really put up. Now I'll show you, in case if you do not want to create this particular thing, how you can automatically create this. But first let's try to understand the code actually which is there. So in case if I go back to the code, and I can see one by one things how this code is really getting executed. So the first thing is, in case if I go back here, the first thing is, okay, we have Azure account show, just to ensure that I'm really running, and this is where I'm running one by one commands here. How I can really run the commands, because I'm providing the script type here, which is bash, and then under that one I'm saying there is an inline script. Again, a concept, I'll show you how we can really make it like that way. So this part I'm going to repeat, but let's try to understand the commands which is really getting executed here. So the first thing is I'm going to create a ACR, ACR, AZ, ACR create. This is a command to create my ACR. I'm providing a resource group name, and then there is a something like a RG name. Now where is this RG name? I don't see this RG name here. Definitely that RG name is inside my variable group, right? Yesterday we have seen we can add RG group, we can add ACR name, ACR everything, whatever we have, we can really add that. Perfect. So I'm assuming that okay, my RG name is already given in my variable group. I will show you that variable group once we are done. Then I'm going to provide a name here. Again, a name I'm already providing as a part of initial creation, right? This is a creation. So before even creating anything, I have to mention that okay, this is the name I'm going to use, this is the location I'm going to use, this is the SKU I'm going to use. So all that information is something which I need to prepare first as a DevOps engineer. It's not like you are doing at the time of execution. As a your job will be just to create that particular resource. There will be some guy, maybe a DevOps engineer or a senior DevOps engineer or DevOps architect. He will give you the exact configuration and the name. Or because you will be getting some knowledge by the time, you will also come up with saying that look, I am going to create this name, I am going to create this particular username, and I am going to attach this particular SKU, and I am going to enable the admin thing. Then you will get that approval, right? You have to write down that in an Excel sheet or a document. You have to send that to the approver. You will get the approving things, and then you will have to exactly create the same resources. It's not like you are going and creating any resource by the whatever the way you want. No, this is not going to happen. So we are assuming that okay, everything we know the RG name, what we need to really put, we know the ACR name, SKU admin is true, which is required. The second command I'm going to execute is that I'm going to get the username and a password of this ACR. Now, why I need that? If you remember yesterday, in a web application configuration, we have updated our Docker registry URL, we have updated Docker username, and we have updated Docker password. So I don't want to go back to my ACR, copy the code manually, and put up here again and then pass on. No, I don't want that. What I want that is that dynamically I should be able to pick up my password, username, and a password during the execution itself, during the pipeline itself, and save that as a part of my environment, and then update that immediately to the app services. So there is no log as such is mentioned there, and I don't have to mention and record that username and a password. I don't want that. So to make it PowerShell or Bash scripting really gives you a very powerful way to first of all read that configuration. And Azure CLI is also very kind of like powerful enough to get that or fetch that information, because we are creating the credentials, right? We are going to create the service. That means I can easily get the password, username, and a password of that one. To get that username and a password, there is a command. What is that command? That command is ACR credential show name, name of the ACR, because I'm using the ACR name and the username is almost every time same. You can see that, right? Whenever you created the ACR name and the ACR username is always same. So I'm going to use the ACR name, then the resource group I'm providing, which resource group, and then I'm providing the query username, and I'm taking that output as TSV. Now, if I run this command, just this command, particular command, it will give me the admin username of my ACR. Only this command, if I run this. But because I want to actually use this as a part of variable during the execution of my pipeline, I am making it like this. So I'm creating one temporary variable. That temporary variable name is ACR username equal to, and inside a dollar. So generally we provide a dollar for your variable or values, right? Whatever the value I want to really do. So here in a bash script or a scripting, if you want to take out the real time, you are running one command, and that command output you are trying to assign it to some variable. You getting my point? So what is going to happen is username will run this command and will automatically whatever the output I'm going to get, that output is getting assigned to my ACR username, because that's why I'm saying equal to dollar, and inside that dollar I'm running this command. Perfect. Second thing, ACR password. Similar to the ACR username, I can also get the password here, and zero value. Why zero value? Because I have couple of passwords. I'm looking for the first password. So that's why zero. It's an array. So this is the way I can really fetch information. Okay. So if I run this, say like in case if I go back and I want to show you this in a um let's see in a system here, right? If I connect to here, how this is getting executed, let's see. I started the recording, right? Yes. So first I will go to my container registry. Just to take the container registry name. Okay, perfect. So I have this container registry name. Generally, if I that's what I tell you, right? The name of this container registry is okay. I'll go back to the access keys. So registry name is this, and username is also same because it automatically attach that username, whatever the username you created, as a name of your registry itself. So that's why we can understand that, and there is a password, couple of password. Now I want to get this username and a password using a programmatic way. Exactly the same command I'm going to run. Let's see. So if I run a AZ, because I'm running it from the cloud shell, I clicked here and I opened my cloud shell. I just enter AZ here. I can see the AZ command is executed and I'm already logged in because I'm using it from the portal. So I should be already automatically logged in. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run this command AZACR credential show and whatever the thing, only this much. Let's see how, what kind of a request or what kind of a response I get. So I'll just say AZACR credentials, okay, show, and I'm going to they give a name. So what is the here? I have to give a name and the resource group. Let's go back. So name hyphen hyphen name equal to name is my this one. I'll just copy this name and I'll put up here, copy, and we'll paste. Okay, right click, paste. Okay, and then I'm going to also say resource hyphen group, and I'm going to copy the resource group name. I'm going back here, overview. I'll copy this resource group name and I will paste it here. Okay, enter. Credential. Okay, sorry, it should be credential. Yeah, can you see? It gave me couple of passwords and the username. Now the way I'm using this query is the where I'm going and saying, hey, in this particular query when you are really running, I want to see only username. I'll just copy this username. Okay, I'll just copy this particular command and I will again append it here. Let's see what is going to happen. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to say paste and let's see what is going to happen. So instead of this one, because it took additional queries things, I'll just remove this and I'll just say enter. I can see this in a this particular format, right? I can see, okay, there is a ACR demo, but I'm getting a double quotes. If I want to remove these double quotes, right? There is also one option I can really add, which is output as TSV. TSV means just give me only that value. Don't give me anything else. Okay, let's see in case if I update this TSV, then what kind of a thing I'm getting. So if I go back here, I'm going to say output and just say TSV and enter. That's it. So I am now getting, so here if I just run this particular command, I can get only, I can get a complete array within the username and the password and everything whatever I have. But if I run this using a query, specific query, I'm saying, okay, I want only username in this particular thing. It is giving me username but with double quotes. But when I don't want this double quotes also, because when I'm providing variable, that will also, the double quote will also get considered as a value. So I don't want that double quote here. I just want the actual value. Okay, put up the output.tsv and you will get the actual value. Perfect. So you are getting this actual value and you are now updating, you are using that actual value as a username. Okay, or maybe a variable, actually username variable. Same thing is happening with your ACR password. I'm going to get that ACR password here. Perfect. So till this point, clear guys? Any questions on this commands?
So far you are using this Azure command line only, right? CLI.
Yes, CLI.
Okay. There is no I mean Terraform not yet involved here. Just command line special.
Terraform, that's what I said, right? First understand the CLI, then we'll get into the Terraform,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's what I do understand that. So yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So because once until you understand the Azure CLI and the problems with Azure CLI, Terraform there is no use. That's what I'm
Yes,
telling.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So we are going to create this one. I got this ACR name and everything I have already updated as a part of my pipeline. Perfect. Now the what is the next step? The next step is create the service plan. Now we might whenever we create a pipeline, whenever we create any resource, right, we generally tend to forget these dependencies. So if I go back, say like whenever I'm going to create this ACR, right, as I mentioned, right, I'm going to create this web application also. But to create this web application, I need to also have something like a web app plan, app service plan, which is very important, very dependent. If I do not have a plan, where my application service will run, right? Similarly, I need to have a resource group, RG, right? Before even creating this entire thing, I need to really have a resource group. If I don't have a resource group, I cannot create ACR. I cannot create web application. I cannot create a plan. So these are all my dependencies. We'll have to understand that. Okay. So as a part of this one, because we already have a created resource group, but I can create a resource group also, right? During my execution, I can create a resource group. I can create a app service plan, ACR, and then web application. So every dependency you need to mention in a infrastructure code, which is very important. If that dependency is not available, then your infrastructure code pipeline will fail. Okay. Let's go back. Let's see. So we are going to create a plan. In this plan, I am going to give the same resource group because I am using the resource group multiple times. That's why I make it as a, you can see right now, every time, every place I need a resource group. I need this here, 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 here. Almost every command I need a resource group. That's why making a resource group variable is very important. Okay. So I have a, this is resource group I have added. Okay. Then I am giving a name. Okay, the name of my service plan is again a name of the service Azure application, whatever I have, and I'm actually using some pattern here. Can you see what is the pattern? I'm actually using the existing web application name which I want to create, and I'm just attaching hyphen plan here. So I'm combining variable as well as the text which I want as a part of my deployment. Okay, so that's how I need to really put up that in a double quote. So I'm putting a double quote. I'm saying okay, this is the plan name, this is the web application name hyphen plan. So I can understand that okay, this particular plan is for this web application which I'm going to create anyways. Okay, then I'm putting up the SKU as S1. Perfect. Then I'm going to create a resource group again. Sorry, I'm going to create a web app. This time I'm going to provide the name of that web app and the plan. Now, if you see, I have to provide the exact same pattern here also. Otherwise, it will not understand. If I don't provide the proper plan details here, it will not understand that. That's why making all these things as a variable are really, really very crucial. Perfect. Then I'm going to say deployment, container image. So I'm giving because we can create multiple types of web applications, right? Web apps. We can create using code, you can using static web apps and all those things. Here I'm going to explicitly mention, hey, look, create a web app which is a container based image. Don't create anything else. So for that, I need to provide this option, deployment container image name. If I provide this app latest is the by default provided one, which whatever is there, I can just give it anything here, random name. It's fine. What might happen is that it is going to fail. Anyways, I know that this is going to fail because I'm going to not use this one. I'm going to use my ACR here or my application which is kind of like pushed into the ACR and that will get deployed. But as an initial stage, I just want to make sure that the application service, the web app is created using a Docker image. Should not be created using a code or any other option. Perfect. Now immediately after this one, I'm going to create another slot. Very simple command. When you are going to create, you just have to say web application deployment slot create resource group name, the name of your web application, web app, and hyphen hyphen slot name, which is a dev. I can create dev, I can create QA, I can create as much as possible. I can actually use it from here itself. Perfect. Now, once I'm done with this piece, three things, right? For web application. Now the final option is to update my the Docker ACR name and everything, because this command, if you remember, right, why we ran this command? To fetch the credentials, the username and a password, but we haven't really used this anywhere. Here we are going to use it. Why? Because I am going to first of all connect, or make a container set where I'm going to say config container set, whatever the configuration I have really put up, and inside this particular thing I'm going to change the configuration. For now there is nothing like a app latest here. Okay, I'm just giving a hypothetical, or assuming that app has something like that. I can just also mention a web app here, which is fine, not a problem. Because maximum what is going to happen, as I mentioned, right, it is going to fail, but it is going to attach this particular thing to my web application. If you already have a web app, any sample web app, generally companies really do that, right? They create a sample web app here and they will attach it. So you can just say inside this ACR there is a sample web, so whenever I'm creating at the first time, use that sample one. And that sample may be having just a name of your company, saying that welcome to xyz.com. That's it. Okay, you are using a xyz.property. If you are not authorized, don't use it. Like that way you can just simply create one sample web application and you can attach that one, which is a part of your Azure CRI, Azure, Azure container registry. Perfect. I've updated that one as a sample one here. After this one I'm going to update the configuration sets. Now in this configuration set I'm going to add the details about whatever configuration I want in my app. So I want these three things, right? If you remember, I want my Docker registry server URL. This is the URL which I'm going to do. I'm going to add Docker registry server username. This is the username. And I'm going to say Docker registry server password. And this is the password. If you remember, if you see that when I'm actually attaching this one, I'm not using any kind of a dollar or something like that. I'm using this one and I'm using this particular piece. Now I have these code already available. Okay, what I need to do here, I need to just copy or integrate this code with my actual pipeline. In case if I want to do it, I can keep it separate. I have actually kept it separate here. If you see, right, there is nothing here. I'm just running this particular Azure CLI. So you can also do that as a part of a single pipeline, or if you want, you can really create as a part of your existing pipeline. Perfect. How to really use that in an existing pipeline? So I'm just going to copy this. I already have this here, so I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use this one. So say like if I go back, and this is my build pipeline, right? Whichever I have this Docker and everything, whatever I'm going to use, and I have already provided all the ACRs and everything. I think yesterday's thing I haven't saved. That could be the reason, but no problem. Let's modify this. For modifying this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to edit this particular piece. Okay, I'm going to expand this and I'm going to say, look, we are okay. So I'm just keeping it here. Generally, we should be really putting up inside the things, but this is not the updated code. And here we have already updated all this information, whatever I have. But before this job, right, I can create one more job which is just for infrastructure deployment. So I'm going to copy from this task to the job or a stage also. Let's copy that entire stage. I'm going to say, hey, I don't want to use this one. I'm going to paste it something like that. Okay, so I'm not using it this way. I'm going to use it in the pipeline way. So you can really see how you can really do it. Leave, yes, leave this. I don't want that. I'm going in a Docker. Where is that? Okay, so say like IAC. This is the one which or maybe I'm going to create a new pipeline. Let's see. I think there's no Docker pipeline here. This is the Docker pipeline. Let's see, it might have failed, but fine, no problem. We are going to edit this one. Okay, so we have all this information. We have this Docker, DevOps registry, but I think we have changed this registry name and everything. So I'm going to change this entire piece. Let's do one thing. Let's create a new pipeline itself. I think let's not get confused with this option. Okay, so I will go back. Board and not repository. We'll go here. This is a pipeline, right? I don't want to use this pipeline. I'm going to rename this pipeline as one. Okay, and let's create a new pipeline here or a file here. Inside this thing, I'm going to create a new file. Now let's create a new pipeline. I'm going to execute this one. I'm going to select the Docker here. Okay, and I'll start with the Docker build and push first. Okay, and then we will slowly add one more details here. Perfect. I have this one. Okay, container registry is this one. Okay, and then say like whatever the Docker name I have, I'm just going to say web app. Mm, Here I'm going to change web app. And the way why actually we are going to also need to keep it separate because we need to create these service connections and everything, right? And that is already created using the existing ACR. So that is also one of the reason actually you should not be really keeping this as a part of your build pipeline because this is the option which we anyways we need to revalidate it with that one, but it's okay. I'm going to show you how we can really do it. So I have this particular pipeline, okay, where I'm just having a build and thing, and we know the rest of the things, right? How we can really do it. I can add just one stage here. I'm going to copy this stage and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to create a new stage here and paste it here. This particular stage, okay, enter, and then again enter. Perfect. Now I'm going to name this one as IAC. Okay, create infra or provision infra. Provision is the word actually which you should really do. Provision infra. Okay, and then deploy something like this. Maybe the display name is also deploy. Okay. After this deploy is done, we need to go and copy this particular thing because that is also important. Without that, it will not really work out. So I'm just copy pasting this one. I'll ensure that it is exactly the same thing. Indentation is very important. If you do not follow indentation, your pipeline will fail. Perfect. I have this one. Now I'm going to add my step task here, right? Here, if I go back, I have an option. As you can see here, there is an assistant which is already there. I just click on show assistant, and here I can simply say Azure CLI. Okay, I'll just click on Azure CLI, and it automatically connect to my kind of like a UI, which is giving me an option to select what kind of a service connection you want to use to create anything here. So I'm going to select the service connection which I have. I'm going to select the Azure SP. Script type is, we can see that okay, there is a lot of options which we have. So I can go and I can say just shell or batch, whatever I have. I'm going to use the shell here. Okay, then script location, I can use the inline script or a script path. So if I have a complete file as a script, I can really give that as a complete script, so it will execute one by one, or I can put up that in the inline script. So if I put up an inline script, I just have to copy paste whatever I have used there. Okay, so say like if I go back to my pipeline, this one, and I'm going to copy everything here. So like if I copy everything here, whatever from the top to bottom, and I will go back and I will just paste it here in the pipeline. Okay, I can paste it here, or just to a sake, I can just copy copy paste one thing, so I know that from where I need to start. So I'm going to say az account show to show the account here. Perfect. You can really use the script argument. We don't have any arguments here. I'm just going to skip this. And access principal details, script and everything. We can really, put up this details because I want to use the service credentials, use global configuration, working directory is exactly the same thing. It's okay. So I'm going to just say okay here and make sure that, you have a clicked here tags here, and I'm going to just say add. Now, the moment I say add, it is okay, it is going to kind of like create, this is the option which is already started. So this particular command what I mentioned now right now, it automatically added here. But I don't want to really run one command. I should really run multiple commands here. So that way I should be really selected. I should have selected multiple, because one time it's selected. I want to show you one more thing, one more time. So ensure that we have that a line actually, because this is what I want to show you. This is how it is going to add a pipe here, and then under that you can really provide multiple lines. I'm going to show you that one more time. Perfect. I'll delete this one and I'll go back here to the step. Here Azure CLI, I'm going to run one more command saying that az Azure create, something like this, az acr create. Let's see what's going to happen now. Create and advanced is fine, add. Okay, now can you see, because I have added two lines here, it automatically added this pipeline and two line of code. That's it I want. Now once I have this information, I just have to copy paste whatever I has given you here. Just copy paste this entire thing and then paste it here. As simple as that. In this command line, okay, maybe you can say enter here, and here just copy paste whatever you have copy pasted. Only thing you need to ensure the indentation. It's very important that indentation should not be missed. So when you are copying pasting, you have to ensure that wherever your az will start, right here you have to start here. So say like if I come here, you just have to paste it, so you know that okay, there is a indentation which you need to maintain. Now you can delete this as create here. Account show also you can delete, you don't need really this particular thing. And now you can run this command. This space I have really just intentionally made it just to kind of like show you the differences. Otherwise, generally when you are really creating, you have to really run it like this to save the lines and everything. But just for our testing purpose or showing you in a proper way, I have actually made it like this. Simple as that. Now if I run this now, okay, if I run this now, it is going to execute my infra. It is going to create everything whatever I have really provided. But the thing is, I need to ensure that I'm providing all this information. Okay, so for that what you are going to do is you are going to create either that as a part of this pipeline, or add it as a your infrastructure as a code, or your variable group. That's the only thing. So you need to ensure that you are putting this information in a your variable group, and then you are going to execute it. Perfect. So I leave it up to you guys to do it and show me how you are going to do it, because we have seen how to create a variable group. We have also seen how to add that and access it. I've already given you the code. You don't have to do anything here. Just kind of like join the missing points, that okay, this is how you have to really do and practice this. Okay guys, so far with me, you understood what is my ask? Do you think you will be able to do it? Nirosha, Anurag, Ramana, do you think you'll be able to do it?
Yeah, but need more practical. We'll see. So
Without
doing this,
practical,
we need to. Yeah,
without
doing this,
practical.
we need to have AML knowledge, right? AML language knowledge to be
That's what I'm telling you. So
yeah.
far, I am not even asking you to do any or learn any YAML. I'm giving you ready-made. You just have to put up the places.
Yes,
That's it.
yes, 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 yes,
It's a
yes.
puzzle, guys, right? It's a puzzle. I'm giving
Mhm.
you all the puzzle pieces. You just know how to put up that puzzle. That's it. You
Correct,
don't
correct.
have to learn YAML. Forget about YAML,
Mm.
learning YAML. There is nothing YAML here. Forget about, like, consider that, I don't know, I'm just giving you some instructions. Follow that instruction. That's it.
Okay, okay.
right? So this is like, when you are entering into the swimming pool, I'm not asking you to really get into a swimming pool of 10 feet water. No, this is just a 3 feet water. That's it. Where you can easily stand, you can easily go, and you just try to swim. And 100% you are not going to draw because it's
Correct,
just a
correct.
3 feet water, right? This is a 3 feet water. So I'm not throwing you inside a 10 feet water. Just a 3 feet water. Go here.
Hmm.
Now you have to start, acting, start putting your hands and legs. Otherwise, you will never learn swimming. Never ever learn swimming. If you feel that you are outside of the swimming pool and you now want to really, learn swimming pool, believe me, no one can learn. Okay? So you have to get into the water, and you have to get into the swimming pool. This is just a 3 feet water. Perfect? So try this
Yeah.
and come back Monday and show me how you are really going to do it. Perfect?
Sure, sure, sure.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's it for now, and we will start these things for Monday. And by that time, guys, I really want to see some good progress here. I want to really see how you are really doing it. And again, as I mentioned, YAML is not there. You just have to do the copy pasting and ensure that you are creating variable groups, putting up that variable groups, defining this one. And YAML is just a normal thing. It's a very, very simple thing. You already have a code and everything. You just have to copy paste. That's it. Okay, so try that. Don't get scared. I'm with you. But at least you do something. That's important.
Yeah,
Perfect. I think
thank you.
that's it for today, guys. Let's connect back on Monday again. Okay, and we'll take it from there. By that time, enjoy your weekend. Do practice a lot, and we'll talk to you on Monday. Thank you, guys. Have a nice weekend. Bye.